Hello, it's Sparkles of Gold. Welcome back to the channel. If you've never been here before, I talk about astrology. I'm going to talk really fast here so you pay attention to my hands because I need to retain your viewership for the first 15 seconds. And if I do this and do tactics like this, you'll stay with me, hopefully, until the rest of this video is over. Hey, I'm going to start talking about April 10th to April 17th. Let's start right off at the bat. You're going to see my cursor here. There's Mercury in Taurus. Hey, Mercury finally leaves Aries. Hot-headed, quick-tongued Aries. Mercury's been breezing through the signs lately. It's entered Taurus, where finally the ideas, thoughts, and opinions and the way we communicate and the way we talk are actually slowed down, calculated. It has patience and tolerance and is grounded in speech and how one comes about with their ideas, thoughts, and their opinions. Very chill, easy pace. Not fast like Aries, not fire, earth. Feel me? Other side of this, tunnel vision, stubborn. Don't see any other opinions sometimes. But in this case, with the rest of the chart coming in on Sunday here, and eventually Mercury will conjunct Uranus here, and there's going to be some explosions of ideas, out of the blue, trademark Uranian surprise words, but that's down the line. At least for this week, Mercury is going to be chill. It's going to eventually square the nodes here at Scorpio South Node and Taurus North Node. And if we go all the way to April 30th, when we have our eclipse, that's going to happen at the nodal part in Taurus. I think it's 10 degrees Taurus. We're going to pay attention to when Mercury hits the 9, 10, and 11th degree mark here in its transit, because it will be connected to the end of this month and the eclipse. Anyway, that's a big ingress there that happens with Mercury. The moon that day is going to be squaring Uranus. You could see here, I have it at 10:30ish p.m. There's the moon in Leo. There's Uranus there. Again, fixed signs, 90 degrees. They're both going 90 degrees. A square in astrology is like two signs are basically going through a stop sign at once, and then they collide. And there's tension, and there's something that needs to be resolved or fulfilled, or it crashes, or it's a tightly wound aspect. And tension is there. So the moon in fiery Leo, wanting to express itself, has Uranus crashing through it, and there's some other spontaneous or out of the blue, emotional, hopefully creative expression from the Leo moon. The other part of this is sensitive, emotional content from Leo moon, and wherever you have Leo in your chart, you know, that part of your chart could have a sensitive day. This is the 10th, is really soon here. I'm going to go up to the, I'm going to go right to the 11th. There's the 11th there. You can still see that the moon in Leo's there. And we could see that Mercury's at 2 degrees, Taurus, Sun's in 22 Aries. So we're moving along here. We also have that day, the moon in Leo is going to trine the Aries sun. So there's some great fire conduit that's happening here that's creative and vivacious and all about not just tending to a fire, but the creative expression of one's ego, if done in a healthy way. The other part of this is where we have that day too. You can see Mars and Leo is going to be opposite Mars. And so for those couple hours there, that's another set off. So there's a lot of crackling energy going on here for the 10th and to the 11th with the moon in Leo. How can we forget, though, the biggest thing probably a lot of people have been thinking for the year, for the week. I don't know. I don't know if it's the biggest thing, because I'm the type of person who let me just stop right here. Any astrologer, including myself, can tell you what the biggest day of the year is, or the most horrible day of the year is, anything like that. And I'm going to stop and say that it really depends on an individual's personal chart, really, whether you're going to have the luckiest day of the year or so on and so forth. I just want to say that. It's not a disclaimer, but I think we don't talk about it enough in the astrology world, that it's your individual chart that is really, you can really pinpoint the transits. We're talking overall when a lot of us do these weekly transits, right? The overall energies, but sometimes to get really specific to see if it really affects you, you have to compare the weekly transits to your own chart or to the sections of the chart that I mentioned. Makes sense? Hope so, because we're back. So yes, here we go. Jupiter, Neptune in Pisces. They're together mathematically all week, but this has been building for months and will continue after this week. So wherever you have Pisces in your chart, there is I've been calling it the veil being lifted. Your connection to something that's beyond you, and this happens in many forms and can be used in many vessels. How we go to something beyond us. The common thing you'll hear is dreams, daydreams, the imagination, and here it's completely open. Veil is down. Your connection to this dream land, dream world, to this higher frequency of all-encompassing light and love. It's one way you can look at this. The other part of it is just what happens with imagination and fantasy and transcending yourself. And this week especially, it is wide open. I've been talking for my other videos about how I worry about a transit like this because of how susceptible people can be to fantasy, to some higher ideal, and it becoming thinking it's real and a reality. And with something like this, it's not a reality. The dream can become a reality, but that takes work and steps and back into this space of the material world and the world itself, where you have to build upon that idea and dream. It doesn't just happen. Miracles do happen, but I'm of the flavor that you have to take the steps to make the dream happen. If you want the dream, if you're looking for the symbolism, if you're looking to talk to your ancestors, looking to people who passed in your life, actually, this is a week for it. If you been noticing you've been having interesting visions come your way, whether you're asleep or not, write them down. Pay attention. Huge moment, huge week after this, because we have Venus here in Pisces, and eventually Mars is going to come into Pisces. The moon's going to touch upon this. So for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, this conduit is open. Just remember the vessel that you use to leave yourself, which is really coming back to yourself, or to go above or beyond yourself. Some people, they're going to pray. Some people meditate. Some people do ritual. Some people drink a bottle of Jack Daniels and pop a Xanax. You see what I'm saying? Some people use art and imagery and music, the things that involve your senses, because that's what Venus is, your senses, and it being in Pisces is there, along with Jupiter and Neptune. You use those conduits and vessels to get to that place. But you can also see how, and you just notice the people around you, whether they're popping drugs or they're completely scrolling and getting the serotonin hits on their iPhone or on the computer, and you're not within reality. So you're in a fine line there of like how you leave reality and how you come back. Remember to have the tools, the compass, the pen and pad, whatever it is, for you to come back and forth, back and forth. And in that structure there, you can find gold, sparkling gold. So I could talk more about this. It can be a beautiful, and I think if you stand in a place of like love and light and compassion, like I always talk about in my videos, there is an immense amount of healing here. You're also going to hear the fantasy and love and romanticism, and that's true too, but that doesn't mean it happens for everybody that way. But I think the love and compassion and the higher love and the healing for yourself and for the world or for others, it's there to access. It's just how you access it and then how you come back. There's my little rant about that. We're going to get into the next day on the 13th, or here's the 12th. You could see here that they're tightly together here. right? Jupiter and Neptune. And at this point now, the moon's in Virgo, which is going to oppose all this, be on the opposite of all the Pisces stuff. So it's not that clean. As a matter of fact, though, if you can use the Virgo tools of the moon, which wants the pen and the pad, the compass, the little things, the little tools that get you by every day, you can have the vessel for this Piscean stuff that's happening wherever Pisces is in your chart. And by the way, if you don't know that, where that is, you can get a hold of me and I'll send you your chart. I'll tell you exactly where it's at. So here we are on the 12th, which is the Tuesday. We're in Virgo moon. We also want to pay attention here. Saturn's at 23 Aquarius. There's Mars. I'll tell you why later. We go to the 13th. We have Mercury in the sky. It's in Taurus now. It's several days in, and it's going to make a nice relationship, a sextile, with this Venus in Pisces. And whenever you have water and earth, Taurus, Pisces, water likes to lap up against earth. They have a good symbiotic relationship with each other. And a sextile is a very tightly wound conduit of energy that one could use. So basically, these patient, eloquent words that could come from a Mercury in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, and it's basically touching Venus here in Pisces, where she loves to be. These are beautiful words. Organic, earthy, using your senses, connecting with your senses and the expression of them. Another hint here for if you're looking for some sort of healing mechanism or stuff, the words you could say to yourself, the ideas that you can come up with and how you can implement them in a creative, deep, and in a sense, loving way. So that's a great transit right there. The moon that day is going to be also, I think I wrote something down here, in an actual interesting relationship with Uranus too. So you have something happening here where there's this lot of Mercury rules Virgo, mercurial energy, word energy, thought process. And if you could center it around this Venus in Pisces, it's nice to have nice things to say to yourself and people. Considering a lot of the transits that have been happening and are about to happen here, it's a nice respite, as I say. And I'm trying to talk more positively about transits on my videos. We're going to go to the 14th here. And here it is. Another interesting day. Finally, Mars leaves Aquarius. Mars has been in two signs in a row, Capricorn and Aquarius, for a while, and leaves Saturn rule sign. Now Mars is in Pisces. It gets to let up a little bit, but Mars doesn't like to actually let up. And in a traditional sense, Mars doesn't like flow in Pisces like Venus does. Okay? So there can be some mishits here. Mars just wants to go, and Pisces diffuses. No boundaries. Mars wants to go straight, and Pisces diffuses it all and throws it off course. If you look at it from a more modern perspective, and what has been going on for the last so many months, Mars is joining up again with Venus by sign. And they've had an interesting relationship all the way back to last winter. And here, I think there's another possible place of healing and a fantasy and fog. So Mars wants to push something, and if it's going to push through Pisces, and it's along with Venus, and eventually it's going to be along with Jupiter and Neptune, you could see how one, yourself or someone, or culturally, people can get caught up in a fantasy or something they think that's real, right? And go along in this vessel and craft, but really is not quite grounded. I will tell you personally, use this in this way. Imagine, think about the word I just used. Imagine something, or the Pisces part of your chart, or what you would want as a human being that touches upon your heart, your mind, soul, everything. This connection that we want with ourselves, and we find ourselves scattered, and we try to bring ourselves back together again. Pretty much like the story of life, you know. And if you imagine ways of being, and you, in a sense, project that out there, and you want to think in terms of like health and balance and positivity, and you're bringing in your core will, but you're also bringing in your senses, your sensories, everything, your vision, what you hear and stuff. If you can combine those two things together and focus it, it's like a prescription for something beautiful to ingest and take medicine-wise. It's all about the intention. Do not underestimate yourself as a human being and what you have and the power that you have. What you can do with intention, with setting something in motion. Again, I'm a big Saturn guy. Once you set something into motion, then you take tools in this world that you actually can touch and feel, and then craft it and continue the intention in the story. There's some magical moments happening here. And it all depends on how focused you are and what your intention is and where it really stems from. So think about that. Mars and Pisces. And there it is. We finally get to a place where all these Pisces planets are going to be together, and eventually the moon. Let's go to the 15th. I wrote down something here that maybe not a lot of people are going to talk about, and it's something I've been continuing about, and it's the moon in Libra here, and we're pretty much ramping up to the full moon, which is the next day. But what the moon is going to be opposite the sun, but it's going to be opposite that day, and I'll go a couple hours here, just so you could see. Here, the moon is at 13 degrees, and on the other side of it is Chiron and Aries. So if we go back to April 1st, when we had the new moon in Aries, and it was the new moon was together with Mercury in Aries, but it was together with Chiron and Aries, and you can look at the video, and I'll put it up there, about the wounded healer and Chiron and wounds in the Aries part of your chart, or for Aries people, or for those who have planets in Aries. And here we have the moon coming now 2 weeks later to trigger this. So there's a continuation from 2 weeks ago in the new moon. And the full moon really is all about this too, actually. That's going to happen the next day. I know I'm skipping some other stuff, but I just want to point that out for somebody who's been watching here on my little Chiron story thing that I've been doing. Here, we're going to go to, I'll show you right here in the chart, and we'll just flip it here because I already have it. Here's the 16th, and there's a lot going on here on this full moon in Libra. There's the full moon. Full moon is when the moon's 180 degrees opposite of the sun. That's a full moon. Okay, it's called opposition. At 26 degrees, it is squaring the nodes. Or am I correct by this? No, it's squaring Pluto in Capricorn. So this is a heavy one. This is a heavy full moon off the bat. Without even looking at the rest of the chart here, there's just Pluto's involved, which is Pluto unearths the truth, the scraps, the poison, the stuff that you don't see, the things that need to come up to the surface that are stagnant, that are basically crap, that are basically rotting and needs to be purged. Whether they're purged or not in one's personal story and how they deal with that is the key. But basically, you have Pluto 90 degrees away from the moon and from the sun, and it's called a T-square is what they call that. So it's at a major point here. We also, whenever we look at full moons and new moons, we look at the ruler of the planet. So here's the moon in Aries, and here is the moon in Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus. Aries is ruled by Mars. We haven't walked away from the Mars-Venus story now for months. Again, it's a relational thing, and dealing with relationships with yourself and with other people and with the outside world. All you have to do is look at the Aries and Libra part of your chart. Look at the Capricorn part of your chart. But if we were to completely focus and go to a place where at the root of what it is, it's Venus and Mars and Pisces. So you have not a standoff. Pluto's asking for the truth and unearthing things in the full moon and exposing things from 2 weeks ago, okay, from the new moon. But it's happening in Mars and Venus and Pisces. There's a diffusion there and a little confusion that can happen with the reality check that Pluto can bring. But then we look to the core rulers and they're Mars and Venus. So you could see how things can get confusing and lost here. What's going to help you out, actually, in all this is that the moon has support from Saturn in Aquarius. So Saturn's going to bring reality in a container for everyone to deal with this full moon here and be logical about things in a logical Saturn in Aquarius way. You also have Mercury here, the communicator in Taurus, that is going to bring something new and a way to maybe communicate that can be used to diffuse this tension with Pluto in the full moon. And I say this new idea or new way of talking or something because it's together with Uranus, brings something new and ingenious, right, out of the blue. And at the same time, Mercury is in a harmonious aspect with Venus. So there is a place, several places here where one can not diffuse, but one where they can come and deal and center heartfelt feelings. And this can go earlier in the week with Venus and Pisces about like what one comes up with if their intention with how they stand with love and their story with it and what it means to them and what it means to the people they love and other people. There is a solution here in this full moon, and it's about being honest, but being pragmatic in your speech using the Mercury and Taurus and being real. Not wild, not off the cuff, not dramatic. The drama is there, but Mercury in its healthy, nice relationship with Venus and Pisces, if used correctly, can be like, hey, I apologize for those things. I see the things that I have done and I'm working on it myself, but I just want to tell you, this is an example, that we are both human and we all are faulted in our ways, but the best one can do is to recognize past faults and to get past the shame and the guilt of it and get to a process like I forgive myself and I'm asking you, or I'm telling you, example, I'm sorry for the things I've done in the past or some of the words that I've used, and I'm aware of them, and and to create a situation and a platform for this truth to be healthy and congruent with another person, if the other person's willing and the other person just can touch upon this stuff too, right? It's up to them to use. It's there. The solution is there. So besides that, the other thing I could say about all this is at the same time, Uranus has the relationship with Venus here too in the same way. There's a new way of relating here and a new way of talking and a solution to all this. So I hope that makes sense. The next day, I'll switch over here because did I even think about what the next day is? The next day is the 17th, and we're already in the Scorpio moon, and that's a whole nother story. We still have remnants of this full moon, and what you will have, though, is Scorpio moon will be in a harmony with anything else that's in water, with Mars, with Venus, with the Neptune and Jupiter trine that they have. So there's depth and intimacy involved here in a beautiful, beautiful romantic way. I will say personally that for me, the moon in Scorpio is intense, as always, can be private and secretive. But in this sense, even though it's opposite Uranus and most emotional set off, and Mercury, emotional words getting set off, I'm showing you right here, they're opposite. This Scorpio moon making a beautiful trine to all these planets in Pisces is a deep, deep love. Let's not think about the other side of Scorpio where it's like, oh, it's secretive or it can be vindictive or it's a power struggle. Those are all true. But I'm going to give my Scorpio people a break, or people who have Scorpio stuff. I admit I'm kind of in that category. That there is something intensely deep and beautiful here. And I'm going to end it on that. I always end it on a way of trying to think positively, and I'll be honest, it's been a rough go. I could say my world and other people's worlds, but if you can find the beauty and the magic in places and things and moments, let's say the Scorpio moon and it's trining all the other the water planets, and then in that place you can say, you know, to the depths, to the edge, to the everything that I have, I see you, I recognize you and your beauty, faults and all. I love it all, and I'm with you 100% all the way. I love you. See? It's not that hard. Until next time, I'll see you on the next video.